Today we're going to do a kind of impromptu, loose first impressions style review. This is a film that I haven't read anything about it or read anyone else's reviews about it. So this is just basically my reaction the next day after watching it. Today we're going to be talking about La Pretora, aka My Sister-in-Law. And you could consider this a little bit of an I watched it so you don't have to situation, but it will not have spoilers. So the thing with this first impressions style review means that I may not have the full context. I may have missed some things, I may have missed some points, and I don't know anything about the making of the film or the interpretation of the film. So just keep that in mind. This is sort of my blind reaction to a film that I went blind into. La Pretora, which I want to call Pretoria, thanks to Family Guy. It was released in 1976. It was directed by Lucio Fulci, okay? And it's starring Edwige Fenech. So how could you not watch it, honestly? How could I not watch it? It's also starring Rolf, Luca, Mario Maranzana, that's fun, and Giancarlo Dettori. This is a comedy, okay? This is a commedia all'italiana. Commedia all'italiana, okay. A sexy Italian comedy. And here is your synopsis. Viola is an esteemed judge in her city. She's known for being extremely strict and conservative. Her reputation becomes compromised when her wild and uninhibited identical twin sister Rosa comes into town, and people begin mistaking the two. I did enjoy going in blind because I was pleasantly surprised to discover that Edwige is playing a dual role in this film. And it's quite possible that you have seen images from this movie floating around the internet. There is one in particular that gets shared around a lot, and that is Edwige by the pool, and instead of wearing like a swim top, she's got flowers on her boobs. She's got flower boobs. And I've seen that picture many times shared by all kinds of people, like people that probably don't even know it's from a movie at all. But it's because it's so cute. It's such like a fun, carefree, feminine vibe, and of course Edwige is so beautiful. So I've been seeing that posted around a lot. It's kind of like how people will reshare an image from Valerie in her Week of Wonders, where Valerie is like tied to the stake. People just reshare that a lot too, just because they like the picture, you know? So that's what's happening here with the flower boobs. And there's also this image of Edwige as Snow White, which you may have seen. I know I have seen it before, and that is from this movie as well. And yeah, I always figured I was gonna see the flower boob movie one day. So the day has finally arrived. But as for this genre of Italian sex comedies, I think I've only seen maybe two others. I've seen the Wife on Vacation, The Lover in Town, and then I've seen Desirable Teacher 2, and I think that's it. Comedy isn't really my thing, but being in this like Euro cult sphere, it's inevitable that you're going to try a few different genres because these are the same people making all these movies. Someone did explain to me once that, especially when it comes to those comedies, they don't translate well for a worldwide audience. They're sort of like localized, and I definitely can see that when I watch these kinds of movies. Like, for one thing, the subtitles, which I'm very thankful for being so detailed, but the subtitles would often point out when there was a play on words or like a pun that was happening that like we never would have registered. The comedy in these movies is so strange. It's I don't know if like slapstick is the word, but it's very goofy, very cartoony, very immature. It's giving like Three Stooges or something like that. It's the kind of humor that even an old person would laugh at, but it is intermingled with just a lot of nudity and sexual content. So it's almost like this very childish humor mixed with this very adult content. And it is a very raunchy movie, by the way. But anyway, let's get into the story. We start off with this slimy dude harassing Edwige as she's walking down the street. And just a short while later, this guy actually has a court date and he's been charged with fraud, so he has to report to the courthouse. And much to his shock, the presiding judge is the woman he was harassing on the street. That was a satisfying moment. And it hit hard, you know, because you never really know who you're messing with on the street. You know what I'm saying? But yes, as I mentioned, Viola, she's the judge. She has a sister named Rosa who just, what's the word I can say? A floozy? She just goes and does whatever she wants to. She's very like ditzy, very flirtatious, and very active. So the kinds of things that Viola does, she like monitors things that are happening in the town and deeming whether they're suitable or not. So for example, one of the things she does is like watches movies through to see if they are acceptable. So there's this one scene, for example, where they're reviewing a movie in a theater, and it is like I guess it's a porno. And so the judge is sitting there with these attorneys around her and like people taking notes, and they're all just like sitting in front of the movie while this adult content is happening on screen. Throughout this movie, people will interact with Rosa, the slutty twin. I'm sorry, I don't know another word. They'll interact with Rosa or see something that she has done or whatever, and they'll just think like, oh, that's the lady magistrate, like that's Viola. So even though it's not Viola doing those things, they're already seeing her in this different way. Like, okay, so even though you haven't seen Viola naked, you've seen Rosa naked, so you know what Viola looks like naked too. Do you know what I mean? So it's really encroaching upon her professional life. Like, the things that her sister does is encroaching upon her professional life. And this kind of stuff was really cracking me up and honestly making me think, is this intersection of not safe for work with work. It happens. And it is hilarious, the things that we try to keep separate from each other. Like, we're just supposed to have a work us and then the everything else. I mean, we are all naked under our work uniforms. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we're trying to pretend like we're not. But at the end of the day, we're all humans who like to have fun. And even I, like, since I work with college students, there are like things that I'll have to deal with or like updates that people will give me that is not, I guess you could say it's not appropriate for work, but it is my work. But I have these moments where I'm like, this is really my job. And even other little things like this, I have an amok poster up in my office, but like nobody knows what it's from. This is intersection of the inappropriate with the appropriate, I guess. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. That's why that movie was so funny to me, because sometimes the inappropriate stuff is part of your work. And sometimes the inappropriate side of you comes to work. Anyway, didn't mean to go on that little tangent, but that was one of the things that I really took from that movie. It's just the funniness of, and like the frankness of the fact that not safe for work is often work. Okay, so let's talk about Edwige for a moment here. I have mostly watched her in Jolly and some dramas. More of those like serious roles. She's often playing like a scared victim or whatever. So with that, I'll say that I feel like in comedies, that's when we can really see her true range. She gets to be more expressive. And like I said, she's playing twins in this movie. So we get to watch her do both. She really masters both roles. The cold and commanding judge, like this no nonsense woman. And then the flirtatious, giggly Rosa, who's just like always smiling. This is the most I've ever seen Edwige smile in my life. And I love it. And Rosa was so funny because she is going all the time. It's hilarious. I know we all tend to put Edwige on a pedestal because she's so beautiful. But let's not forget she's actually quite talented, and not just in playing a certain type of person. She's talented in a wide range of roles. So she carries this movie. The movie is pretty much just a showcase for her, pretty much all about her. Therefore, It is annoying that she is just surrounded by uggos the whole movie. Sorry. Speaking of Edwige, you know, being gorgeous, she is naked in this movie a lot. Most I've ever seen her naked. And the most of her I've ever seen. So, for the Edwige fans, like, this is a nice watch. I could have sworn I read somewhere that she doesn't like being naked on camera or likes to keep it to a minimum. But that didn't seem to be the case in this movie. It's very raunchy, way more nudity than a Giallo. I don't know why Gialli have this reputation for being so lewd, because this was way, not worse. Worse is a bad word. It was way more. But is this movie good? No. No. The story is just all over the place. Like, the story doesn't know where it wants to go. Like, it's just taking us to random places. It doesn't feel very cohesive. None of the characters are likable except for Edwige's characters, but even those characters have like major flaws. You just like them because they're pretty, you know? Everything is like kind of confusing. I don't know why they showed certain things that they showed and like why certain things happened, because like none of it really matters. Nothing that's happening in the movie matters. This is one where it's like I'm just not quite sure what the point or like what the purpose. I guess the purpose is Edwige being naked is probably the purpose. But by the time we get to the ending, it becomes this like weird romance of a couple that we had no reason to care about. And though Edwige plays her roles wonderfully, the characters have no depth. Definitely we could have stood to have some backstory, something like a little bit more there, but maybe none of these movies are meant to be that way. But pretty much all the characters suck, and the look of the film is overall just kind of like greasy and brown. And maybe this is a part of this type of comedy, this like Italian comedy, but it just seemed like everybody was talking so much and saying nothing at all. I would like, people will go on these little tirades and I'd read all the subtitles and try to like absorb everything they're saying, and then realize like, oh, you were just rambling and that was meaningless. Great. There was a lot more I would like to have seen from this movie. More of the flower boob scene. That was such a fleeting moment, yet it's like the most iconic image taken away from the film even 50 years later. And it was just so brief. I guess I would have liked more of the Snow White scene. I don't know. I feel, okay, the Snow White scene, I won't spoil it for you, but we are kind of watching it. It felt like we're watching it from a distance, if that makes sense. It wasn't immersive. And another thing I would have liked to see is more scenes with both the twins. There was one scene they had together, and although it went smoothly, they did the over-the-shoulder shot. They didn't try the Parent Trap split screen thing at all. They could have at least done it once, right? But maybe that's hard or something, I don't know. Coming out of this movie, I have nothing to say about the music. I have nothing to say about like the style, the camera work, anything like that. And I just think that if that's the case, then that means the film was not immersive in that way. However, I was pretty distracted. I had 3 main goals while watching this movie. 1, look at Edwige as much as possible. 2, try to keep up with reading the subs, and they were going pretty fast. And 3, trying to actually comprehend what the subs were saying, because it was just a lot of rambling nonsense. I don't want to come on here and say that I'm disappointed in the film. I guess I'm disappointed, but okay, I didn't go in expecting much, but also it didn't come out good. But I'm not mad that I watched it, and I don't want to say you shouldn't watch it, because if you're trying to like see other stuff that Fulci has done or see other stuff that Edwige has done, it's interesting enough, but just like, I guess it was not made to be anybody's favorite movie. I don't know. I know these aren't my kinds of films, but I feel like this could have been a little more lovable and a little more charming. I did laugh a little bit, you know, and enjoyed Edwige. So it was like worth watching, I suppose. I guess that's all I'm gonna say about it. This isn't like a deep review. This is just sort of a glossed over first impressions, just so I'm not telling you too much about the movie if you do want to see it. Although I could have done an in-depth one because probably a lot of y'all shouldn't see it. Anyway, I still hope you enjoyed. Let me know if there's like an Edwige movie that you have seen that a lot of people haven't seen. Drop it below. Let a hoe know. Let's keep exploring. And that is all for now. So I will see you soon. Okay? Ciao!